live from the heart of the meatpacking district, or the heart of the empire here. I'm not sure if anybody can hear me. There's a band in the background. I'm in this kind of public plaza. I'm not sure if you can really see. I'm kind of backlit. I like this shot. I wanted to try this. But if you're out there watching, let me know if you can hear this. I can't read anything in the fucking comments anyway. So here we are. It's the first day of spring. Happy New Year. Happy spring. Beautiful day here in New York City. People are out. The bands are out. People wear masks. You know, the city's coming to life. It's really the beginning of the year. I mean, our calendar is really fucked up. I'm going to try to keep this intellectual and just like it is in the living room. If possible, there's a lot of distractions. I've never done this out in the wild like this before, so we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I thought, you know, one of the things that's really frustrating about this is you can't really just like interact with people freely, which I haven't been able to do in a long time. That's kind of my bread and butter, just getting into weird adventures with people in the street. And God, is that music really loud? Maybe I should turn the other direction. Fucking bastards. I should have known these guys again. You know, I've never seen any music in this fucking pedestrian triangle here. I'm on 14th Street and 9th Avenue. You may know this. The Apple Store is right here. So I'm on the Apple Store's Wi-Fi. That's the reason why I came down here, because I don't have Wi-Fi in my place yet. So I'm using the Apple Store Wi-Fi. I'm pirating it. Hopefully they're not fucking stealing all the information, all that and whatnot. But anyway, I just wanted to get out and think about the nitty gritty of the streets, you know. This is how it's going to work. I posted on Twitter. Let's see. Did somebody, did I get a, oh no. I got a notification, but it wasn't a favorite or like, God, this man sucks. There was a login to your account from a new device. Review it. Okay. It's not a new device, it's just a new Wi-Fi. So anyway, yeah, I've never done this out in public before. We'll see how personal I can get. I want to just like interview random people. Like we talked about, I want to like set up a desk in like Washington Square Park or somewhere in public with like a big sign that says like, you know, free interviews or like Frank Fabulous show or whatever. And you can come, God, I hope all these people are around me. That doesn't make it like dangerous. And you can come, you know, like interview you for the show, just like you're on a talk show, just like you're on Johnny Carson or Jimmy Fallon, whatever your cup of tea is, whatever your late night host of choice. So I was, but you know, Spalding Gray, I was talking about Spalding Gray earlier, he did a piece called Interviewing the Audience, where he would bring people up on stage and ask about their life and shit like that. So I thought that might be kind of a fun thing to do, just kind of randomly in public, just kind of get interacting with the crowd. You know, I mean, I'm trying to get the kind of the feel of who's here, who lives here. Particularly this neighborhood. I just moved to this neighborhood. And funnily enough, right now I'm staring at the Google building, at the Google headquarters. It's half a block from me. And the impression that I get is a lot of them people. Well, I mean, this is kind of a tourist area because there's a lot of high-end fashion and shit like that. Diane Furstenberg or Stella McCartney, hotels, the Standard, the Chelsea Market's right here. I'm looking at the Starbucks Reserve Roastery, and it kind of looks like a ski lodge or something. I mean, everybody's just wearing North Face jackets, and they're trying to just relax almost like it's like their hotel lobby or some shit. So I don't know. I'm new to the neighborhood, and I'm something of an anomaly because it's so expensive to live here. This is something I wanted to talk about today. This is something I read earlier this morning, just about this idea that New York City is dead, or you know how it's going to be going forward. And I think you know, this idea that it's dead is absurd. And in fact, what we're seeing happening, probably what we're seeing happening, God, that music is just killing me. It's so distracting. I can't like focus on a fucking tram rod. Maybe I should. Let me turn the camera around. I think it might be a little bit fucking blown out in the background. And let's just give you a look at what's around. You know, I'm trying to get into like this heavy subject. I also haven't had any weed because I'm in New York and like I just don't really know how to get it now. I mean, it used to be like a delivery thing. I still have some numbers I thought I'd try, but like I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna move this real fast. Hold on. Right, is that better? That might be better. The Homestead Steakhouse right here. I think it's been there since like 1868. Right here, Homestead. This cow. COVID fucking sign. I don't know. This feels really creative and unusual to me. Maybe it's like totally normal to like fucking live stream from the fucking street now. But I brought my microphone because I don't know. I wanted a table so I can use it kind of as a desk. But right now I'm using a fucking chair. But maybe this is just totally normal. Here's the fucking band. I don't know. They're kind of cool. They kind of have an interesting thing going on, but I don't know. I feel like amplification is like cheating for fun. I think it's cool that in New York there has been like this explosion of street life and street performance, because that's something I wanted to get into before the fucking pandemic. You know, all my heroes were street poets, Jack Michelin, or Taylor Mead, or whoever, doing it. Jack Kirshman, living on the street, dying on the street, reading on the street, sounding your fucking oratory on the street. And lo and behold, now, you know, the pandemic has sort of forced everything outdoors. Bands, you know, can't play any venues and shit, so what else can they do but go to the park? And why not? It should always be this way. You know, I think a lot of the things about the pandemic, and maybe it's too soon to say this, but they've been kind of good in a way. I mean, they should be permanent. I think people should be able to work from home if they want to, and get free protection from the government. Universal basic income definitely should be a thing going forward for everybody all the time. Jobs should be optional, I think. And just kind of, I don't know, the street, New York especially was very go, and kind of keep your head down, mind your own business. It doesn't quite feel that way anymore. I mean, obviously not. That push and that kind of tension has just been completely, God, I hate these guys. I can't believe they're out here doing this. Totally fucking, oh my God. I don't know. I guess I did have the idea for this morning, but it just completely destroys my fucking stream of consciousness. They're not bad, I guess. Maybe I should just play with them or sing with them. But I don't know what the hell to expect. I guess competing with all these different elements is hard. But anyway, I read this thread this morning kind of about this guy, Fuck Theory. If you're on Twitter, you should definitely follow Fuck Theory. He's kind of academic and he's kind of obsessed with academia and shit, but he's pretty smart. He's got some shrewd insights and opinions into things. And he was talking about, you know, there was this article about New York City's dead forever, and here's why. And what he was saying is contrary to that, far from it. New York City is not dead forever. What we've seen, and what we've seen in the pandemic everywhere, is the lower income people. I think I read the statistic, what, the bottom 50% or 40% have lost $470 billion in wealth during the pandemic, whereas the top 1% or whoever, you know, has gained like $4 trillion or something. And I certainly think that that's going to change. That's what you see in the city. and it's going to change the city, probably not for the better, probably for the worse, because the small businesses, of course, will go out of business. They don't have the money to survive. They can't afford to be closed for 12 months or 6 months or operating at 25% capacity or whatever. People in service industry lose their jobs. The hardest industries are hospitality, service industry, entertainment industry, culture industry. So they lose their jobs, so they can't afford their fucking rent anymore. But places like Google want to move in. Google one of the articles was they invested $250 million in New York City. And I think Facebook, they just bought some building. This is an opportunity, and kind of for them. And what I see mostly is the pandemic is being used almost as sort of like a renovation period for the city. On my block, they're doing a lot of construction. They're doing a lot of construction in my building. They're doing work on the fucking school across the street. They're doing work on the building next door. There's scaffolding everywhere. There's drills all day. God, I hope you can hear what I'm saying. But anyway, where was I? So they're doing all this construction. They're building new shit. They know that the rich people who can afford to leave, who can afford to have second homes, who can keep their apartment, they fucking left. And so they will come back. But in the meantime, let's try and kick out as many of the small businesses, as many of the poor people, as many of the rent-controlled apartments, as many as, whoever wants to leave or whoever's old or whoever's weak, basically, is going to get cold. And then places like Google, places like Facebook, one of the other examples that he used was Columbia University. They are going to buy up the real estate. I guess Google, they seem like they really have an interest, particularly in the neighborhood that I live in Chelsea, which is everything kind of north of here, north of 14th Street to about, 34th Street or something. God damn it, I wish I could turn this fucking camera down. So annoying. This is an experiment in a way. Maybe I'll try it in a different place. I've been thinking about doing this in different parks. There's Wi-Fi. Maybe I'll do Washington Square, Conference Square, or something. Although I'm sure there's going to be a lot of loud music there too. But anyway, so I guess what's happening in Chelsea is Google buys up a lot of the real estate. These nice old row houses. It's one of the best neighborhoods in New York because it's near Midtown. There's a lot of great transportation, subway lines. You have the A line, the 1 line, the F line. You got the PATH train. You have nice old buildings, nice apartments. So the infrastructure is really good. And Google bought this fucking building right here. This building. You can see their fucking name on it. You see that? So they bought that building. And it's weird. I don't know. I think that was Port Authority or something before. Some kind of government or societal infrastructure thing. Or maybe it was power. I think it was Port Authority. And it's just weird because this building is literally laid out perfectly out my bedroom window. The 2 windows literally just frame this fucking Google headquarters perfectly. And it seems like, if you work for them, it's great, So you get paid, you work for Google, aren't you great? Aren't you smart? You're making the world. You're controlling all the fucking flow of data and people's attention and what they see, basically, in their search results.
Think so?
I feel like Sub-Zero in this thing. It's pretty cool. The Mortal Kombat characters, they never had a problem with COVID. It could be the fatality, take off your mask and like cough. So anyway, Google is buying up all these apartments in buildings and whatnot in the neighborhood because they know in the West Village too, West Village is south of 14th Street, which is like the most desirable neighborhood in the world, or one of them anyway. It's definitely kind of the most romantic, beautiful part of New York City for sure. But they buy these apartments and they can rent them to their employees, so they make money that way too. That's investing in the city. I guess this is something Columbia University does as well, and NYU up in Morningside, Columbia and Morningside Heights, or NYU in the West Villages. Columbia supposedly, I guess, is the biggest real estate holder in New York City, except for the city itself. So they own all this real estate up there, and they rent it to. See, isn't that nice? It's nice without that. Just turn your fucking guitar down, man. It's obnoxious. So they buy all this real estate, and I thought this was going to be more unusual. It's just like everybody around here is talking, having conversations. There's not really anything even weird about what I'm doing, other than the fact I have a fucking microphone. I guess I'll do it till my battery dies. Turn on some kind of power saver thing. Maybe the microphone might be taking a lot of the goddamn power. I'm on 79%, so we'll see. Let's see. That gives us probably about an hour or something. The people in my building have this sort of super chipper attitude. You know, there's a lot of joggers in New York now. East Village, Houston. You know, you see these kind of just like plain-looking fucking white people with, you know, Under Armour, whatever, basketball shorts, well-built, jogging. They're all fucking jogging, you know, in their leggings or whatever. And it's like, these are the Google people. These are the fucking super professionals. They got good grades in college, in high school. They don't have any qualms with our society. You know, they just want to make money and be employed, and you know, they can afford an apartment that costs $2,700 a month or something. You know, the rest of us are just kind of in the service industry, more or less, at this point. So, you know, the idea with New York is there's the core of it, Manhattan, you know, where all the super professional people, Google employees, Facebook employees, I don't even think really academics. You know, most of the academics I know live in Queens or Brooklyn or somewhere else, Staten Island or something. I don't actually think I mean, other than the people I know who have rent-controlled apartments, I don't even think I know any people really that live in any kind of desirable part of Manhattan, maybe Washington Heights or something. Even at this point. I mean, we're experiencing this little dip in rent, and, you know, people want it, but it's ending. Now that the weather is kind of on the upswing, these companies have used this time, like I said, to kind of renovate, to kind of do work. So when we come out of the pandemic, which, you know, by fall or whatever, I suppose, those people will just come back. They'll come back to the apartments that they had. They'll get a new apartment. They'll probably be able to continue to work remotely if they want to. And now they might own a house upstate, have a nice little piece of real estate up there they can sort of get away to, but they'll come back, you know. I think that's fucked up, because I was hopeful that, oh God, turn your fucking guitar down. You are not good. I thought the city might get scary and cheap and interesting again because, you know, my brother and I saw a guy taking a shit in Central Park. You know, I haven't seen that in 20 years. But I think it's only a matter of time. I mean, I know in my neighborhood I see a lot of NYPD because there are housing projects on this side of 9th Avenue, all right up here, right up through here. And on 8th Avenue, there's a lot of weird people, to be honest. You know, there's a lot of kind of street people. I don't mind that. I like that. You know, this is their home. That's what makes it what it is. But there have been a number of weird, you know, the weird incidents in New York over the past year have all been kind of mentally unbalanced people who have been, you know, let out of institutions, or, you know, they don't live on the subway, or I don't even know, but they're in the streets of New York. They're homeless, and, you know, they just kind of every once in a while somebody will get pushed in front of a fucking train, or I don't know why. In my neighborhood, there's sort of a concentration. I think there is some kind of like, is this right? I don't even think this microphone is working, is it? Oh, fuck, did I turn it on or not? Yeah. Turn it on. No, it had to be on. I don't even know if this microphone is working. I guess it really might not be. Fuck. Let me see. I don't think this microphone is even fucking on. Alright, hold on. I'm going to start over.